family of a Parsons, Kansas hit-and-run victim speaks out. Plus, a local hospital begins administering the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. And a look at how the pandemic is hard on our furry friends.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, a Pittsburgh football standout finds success on the mat. We'll have his story in a bit. And Christmas is just 2 days away, and that means people will be exchanging gifts. For our Something to Talk About, we're asking what the best gift you ever received was. We also invite you to participate in this morning's Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
G.I. Joe Fortress set. I was 8 years old, living in Urbana, Ohio. It's a no-brainer. Remember it like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
That's
a great
cool
question.
My mom and dad made me a homemade Barbie dream house, which I still have in storage to this day.
How old were you?
It was amazing. My sister had a matching one.
How old were you?
Probably about 10.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
We think back to when we were 8 and 10 years old. That's pretty cool right there.
It was the coolest thing ever.
There you go.
And it was, I mean, the hours they would have put in on it. I didn't appreciate that.
Tanya and I are much older than 8 and 10 now, but those are things we still remember from our youth. That's awesome that you were that young, and we're very similar ages when we say that. All right, high wind advisory that we've got going all the way until this evening, so the wind has not died down in the least, and way more expansive as far as our advisory counties go than what we had yesterday as it continues to move in from the southwest. And those are not gusts, those are sustained winds rolling up to 30 miles an hour up in Nevada. Now, from the Freeman Health System sky camera, sitting at 59 degrees. That's right, 59 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning. So you know the rug's going to get pulled out from us at some point in time. And yeah, it's a-coming, because when you look up to the north and you pay attention to the jet stream right there, that sliver of the warmer color contour and temperatures, that's going to move to the east, and we're going to be replaced by some colder air. As a matter of fact, no, there is no afternoon warm-up. Our temperatures actually just go down today. And so it's still waiting on that morning rain, waiting for it to roll through. Going to push it back to about mid-morning right now. Done by the afternoon, and then overnight into Christmas Eve. Whoo! Okay, that's going to be a little bit chilly. So what we're going to do on the 7-day forecast is we're going to look at overnight temps tonight down into the 20s. Christmas Eve into Christmas Day down into the teens. Don't worry, Santa does not care. That's why he's got the hat, the scarf, and the coat. He's good to go. But sunshine for tomorrow and also on Christmas Day. Just going to be chillier than what we've had.
Oh, I'm just thinking back all these Christmases from my childhood. I remember this one year we got Santa brought us a trampoline for the four of us.
You know what we could do to drive our incomparable producer, Kayden Milner, crazy? Why don't we just put this show on hold and you and I just reminisce? What's on the clock? 5:22. We just reminisce about childhood toys.
The trampoline that we got as a family from Santa one year led to the most amazing team. My sister and I put together a routine to a Debbie Gibson Electric Youth on the trampoline.
Debbie Gibson. Wow, you just brought that one out.
Yeah.
Also, one Christmas, I got my first actual tape that went in a tape player. It was Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair.
Ooh. Taking us back.
Now we're down to 4:20.
Okay, we better move on.
Love you, Kayden.
Local headlines. A Parsons, Kansas family is seeking justice after a hit and run over the weekend. 18-year-old Andrew Scott was struck by an unknown vehicle on Southern Avenue near 35th Street around 2:30 a.m. on Saturday. He managed to crawl into the ditch where he called for help for hours before he was discovered. He's now recovering at Freeman Hospital, but it will be a while before Andrew can walk again. His family is asking for financial help to cover medical expenses and praying the driver responsible steps forward. Missouri Governor Mike Parson yesterday pardoned 24 people, but he won't say who they are. Parson also commuted the sentences of 3 prior drug offenders to house arrest. These are the first pardons Parson has granted since taking office in 2018. Parson's office refused to name those getting pardoned. His office said some of the former criminals' families had not yet been notified. Well, Freeman Health System receives its first shipment of Moderna COVID-19 vaccines. The hospital received 300 doses of the Moderna vaccine and started putting them to use yesterday. They're prioritizing staff who come into close contact with patients in a clinical setting. The hospital gave shots from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. yesterday and had vaccinated 45 doctors, nurses, and other staff in the first half hour.
It's just hard to put into words just the significance of these moments and actually feeling like we really are fighting and going to get out of this COVID pandemic soon.
Employees who work with patients in a non-clinical setting will get the vaccine next. The Moderna vaccine, much like the Pfizer vaccine, requires 2 doses for full inoculation. Officials say the state has guaranteed those second doses will arrive before they are needed in 28 days. In Missouri, state senators are asking how the state decides which facilities get the COVID vaccines. One senator spoke out after 2 major Kansas City hospitals had to wait until this week to receive vaccines. Mike Mahoney has more.
North Kansas City Hospital now has some COVID-19 vaccines. Some staffers thought they'd get it last week, and when they didn't, they told their state senator, Lauren Arthur.
They hadn't received any vaccinations last week, and they were frustrated that they were told not to expect any this week.
The Truman Medical Center helped out, providing some doses to both North Kansas City and to Liberty. And North Kansas City started vaccinating some frontline staffers today.
It's worry, like you're really emotionally drained every day because you worry about your patients and how are they going to survive? Are they going to make it off of the ventilator? Those type of things. It's really personal for each of us.
State Senator Arthur, however, is still wondering why 2 of the Northland's biggest hospitals did not get their own vaccine supply.
There's not a lot of clarity around those decisions, and I think it's perfectly reasonable to ask what hospitals are receiving vaccine shipments, how much are they receiving, and how are those decisions made.
The Parson administration says 285 facilities are approved to vaccinate people, and they're adding more. But with so many Phase 1A workers, it'll take time.
Liberty Hospital says it now has vaccinated a handful of staff who have the highest exposure to COVID patients. With 2 COVID-19 vaccines now available, you might be wondering how they differ. First, the Pfizer vaccine was approved for use in people ages 16 and older. The Moderna vaccine is approved for people 18 and older, but the company is testing its vaccine for 12 to 17-year-olds. They've both shown surprising efficacy. The Pfizer vaccine was shown to be 95% effective 7 days after the second dose was administered. The Moderna vaccine was 94.1% effective starting 14 days after the second dose. They both require cold storage, but the Moderna vaccine will be easier to store. It must be shipped at -4 degrees Fahrenheit or the temperature of a standard freezer. The Pfizer vaccine must be stored at -94 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, the pandemic is affecting everyone, but what we may not consider is how it's affecting our pets. The Joplin Humane Society has seen a handful of pets get surrendered to them due to hardships caused by the pandemic, like sickness and financial stress, where families could no longer take care of their pets. The Humane Society is working to help those and all animals get adopted into a forever home, but they do have resources and advice for anyone in similar situations. Well, kids need a place to go when school is out every now and then. Enter Camp Now and Then. School is, of course, out for the holidays, so camp is on. It runs today from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at Westside Elementary School in Pittsburgh.
But we do tons of activities. We bring them outdoors for mask breaks and that sort of thing as well. So physical activity, we try to get at least 60 minutes a day, and then 2 to 3 crafts, and then a bunch of different activities throughout the day.
For more information, you can contact the Pittsburgh Parks and Recreation Department. It's 5:07.
A little light rain going to roll through later on this morning. It's not going to amount to anything, and it's the indicator of the cold front upon us. is we've topped out temperature-wise today. We're just going to straight drop right down into what's going to be a chilly afternoon and a very cold night. Now, for Christmas Eve, we're looking at mid-30s and chilly. Yes, sunshine. And then Christmas Day, more sunshine. So I guess the positive part of all this, no travel concerns if you need to be out and about.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Riverton Rams try to stay undefeated, taking on the Pittsburgh Purple Dragons. We'll have highlights, plus how a group of Maryland teachers are keeping the holiday tradition alive, and a look at an effort to help homeless people stay healthy during the pandemic. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Riverton boys basketball team off to a hot start this season. They came in 4-0 to start the year, including a win over Columbus and that CNC opener. That was last Friday. Now, last night, Riverton up against Pittsburgh, and this one, home opener for the Purple Dragons. First quarter, Jamie Richardson with the finish. Other end, Elijah Thornton, 3 from the corner. Dragons up 7 after 1. Second quarter, Mason English, he's only a freshman. Keep shooting, Mason English. Increases the lead to 9 at halftime. In the third, here comes Riverton, Isaac Welch. Yes! Riverton back within 2 going into the fourth, but this was about Javon Grant. Needed 34 points to get him to 1,000 in his career. That basket we saw right there got him there. Now get this, Javon Grant dropped 41 points last night. 41 points. Pittsburgh wins at 74-66. Heck of a game, Javon. That is unreal. All right, speaking of Pittsburgh, there's a high school junior named Kayden Barber. You may have heard the name. He stand out on the football field. But last week, he had an unexpected chance to show what he could do in a little bit of a different sport.
Kayden Barber joined the Pittsburgh wrestling team about 2 weeks ago. He joined as a way to stay conditioned for football with no intention of actually competing.
Wrestling conditioning is a good way to condition, and wrestling and football mixed together is a good type of conditioning.
He came in the room just kind of using wrestling to get better for football, and that was our plan.
That plan changed last week.
I think I told him on Tuesday or Wednesday, hey, we need you to wrestle, and he wrestled on Saturday.
On just 3 days' notice, head coach L.C. Davis asked Barber to step in and compete for the Dragons last Saturday in a tournament in Columbus.
He said, yes, sir, what do you need me to do? And he made the weight, which is hard.
He said he had an opening for me because one of our players got injured, so I had to cut a couple pounds, and then I made the weight, and I went with them.
Barber went 2-2 on Saturday with 1 pin in his debut.
He shined when the lights came on, and he was better than expected.
After getting a taste of the action, Barber is now ready for more.
I want to keep doing tournaments and just keep getting better, and it's not really a matter of the wins or losses, just me getting better as an athlete.
Davis is hoping Barber's story becomes a trend.
We're a 5A school. We're the only 5A school in this area, and in order for us to compete with those Kansas City and Wichita schools, we have to have our best athletes out here on the mat. And Kayden Barber is one of the best athletes in our school. Matt Smith, another football player, joined the team last year. And if we keep getting these football players out in the wrestling room helping our wrestling team, then we can compete with those bigger schools.
Barber's goal will always be playing football at the next level, but until fall arrives, he's found a new home for the winter.
I want to go D1 somewhere. I think LC, being the good coach he is, the experience he has, will get me there.
And I think he could be a two-sport all-state athlete. We're really glad to have him in the room. We're going to try to take our time with him, but he's such a great athlete. I think he can help this team a lot, so we'll definitely plan on wrestling him some more.
That means we got a good one coming up after the holiday break as PHS has a road duel at Columbus. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, preventing the spread of a new strain.
A big holiday lockdown in the UK as cases here spike based on a highly contagious new COVID strain. I'm Rick Palka in London. That's my story. Coming up.
And check out our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. While the wind advisories hung out west in southeast Kansas yesterday, this morning, they are all encompassing. Live look from the Skywatch storm tracker. Everybody under a wind advisory until 6 p.m. this evening. So it gives you an idea that the blustery conditions will not stop. Looking for a little late rain to join us here as well. From the Freeman Health System sky camera, very comfortable 59 degrees, that wind blowing in at 22 miles per hour. And when we talk about our temperatures, we are ranging anywhere from the mid 50s to low 60s, so it's hard to beat. Now, when we put the futurecast and forecast, we got some little light rain that rolls through, but remember, by the time we get to the mid-afternoon, our temperatures are going straight down. It is going to be a chilly, chilly Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, as we will find ourselves a far cry from where we started the first days of winter in the 60s. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning poll. Some teachers in Maryland teaming up to make sure a holiday tradition at their school continues, and doing so despite the pandemic. Annie Ramos has the story.
A special delivery.
Merry Christmas!
One gift for every student at George Washington Elementary, delivered to them by their teachers.
This is for Quinn. Here, Quinn. There you go, Quinn.
Part of the school's holiday tradition that all starts with a letter to Santa.
They had to write down 3 different items that they would like.
Then special ed teacher Nina Teresi gets to work.
With this letter, then I take all the letters and I compile an Amazon wish list. We send the wish list out to friends and family, and then friends and family send it out to friends and family, and then amazingly, all the gifts get bought.
Over 200 gifts, but this year, COVID is keeping them from opening them together.
We decided to have them do a drop-off instead.
Teachers dropping off the presents for kids to open them virtually later this week.
We're going to come together virtually, and everyone will open up their gifts as if we were still here at George Washington.
For Dad Luke Eshelman, this year has been a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work to be at home while they're in school, while I'm trying to do my own work.
But these gifts, brought by their kindergarten teacher for Brody, Quinn, and Naya, are making the holidays a little brighter.
Every little surprise is extra meaningful this year, so it means a lot that the school would go above and beyond and distribute gifts in person.
Merry Christmas!
KOAM News Now Facebook page, best Christmas gift you've ever received, and on our Insta poll, how many people are you buying Christmas gifts for this season? Log on to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, people living at 2 homeless encampments in Houston get help in the form of running water. Thanks to volunteers from 2 groups. Ivory Hecker has the story.
Water is a necessity. It really is.
All right. The homeless living under Houston's I-45 and 59 are getting portable hand washing stations to help stay sanitary during the COVID-19 pandemic.
If you get sick as a homeless person, how hard is it to get help?
It's real hard, especially if you don't have ID. Like myself, I don't have ID or any kind of medical.
The hand washing stations were built and delivered by volunteers from Rise Church and Trey the Truth's Charity Relief Gang.
You know, especially with it being COVID, they can wash their hands, and if worst case worse, they can at least try and clean themselves up.
Man, we really appreciate y'all.
Just when everyone was saying, wash your hands, take care of yourself, we knew homeless couldn't do all the things we can to stay safe.
Volunteers also delivering gifts and other goods to the homeless who told us they've gotten less help during the pandemic.
Less, way less, because they're afraid to pass the food out.
And both of the homeless men interviewed say churches have still been sending volunteers to give out food. Well, pregnant women infected with COVID-19 during their 3rd trimester are unlikely to pass the virus to their babies. A study in Boston tracked 64 infected women who gave birth during the spring. None of their newborns tested positive. That's a look at some of today's top health stories you're watching, the KOAM Morning News.
Almost got the door slammed.
And it's 5.
The family of a Parsons, Kansas hit-and-run victim speaks out. Plus, a local hospital begins administering the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. and a look at how the pandemic is hard on our furry friends.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, our morning talker today is about the best Christmas gift you've ever received. Michael and I have shared ours. It's time to share yours. Let us know your favorite on the KOAM Facebook page. We also invite you to participate in our Insta poll. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. First, a check on your forecast.
1989 Upper Deck complete set, number one card, King Griffey Jr.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Another one that sticks out. With 13 years old. Yeah.
When I was 2, I got a baby doll named Sally. It was one of those that only had like the material body and the head and arms and legs attached to it. I took it everywhere. I totally feel for all these little girls who want baby dolls.
Joined at the hip. No, I completely understand. All right, hopefully my hair's not showing it because I tried to walk outside before the door got slammed on me because it is windy as all get out right now, as we've got wind advisories lasting all the way until 6 o'clock tonight. These are not gust numbers. These are sustained wind numbers coming in from the southwest right now at 25 miles per hour. Now, that makes for a very warm morning, still putting us at 59 degrees in the Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin, with even a smattering of 60s still on the board. But look at the top left-hand corner. We know that things are going to change today because we've got that cold front that's going to work in from the northwest. And what that will do is actually make us top out at our temperatures about right now, and then steadily drop down throughout the afternoon and evening hours. A little light rain anticipated with it, but here's a nice thing. We're able to avoid any of the snow or wintry precipitation. Just be prepared for a chilly Christmas Eve and a cool Christmas Day. Now, the nice thing about those 2 days is we will get a whole bunch of sunshine, just not much of a warm-up. I'm not lying to you, too, because I went to go look at cloud cover when you were doing Health Watch. I'm like, I just want to see what the clouds are like and, kind of get a gauge on it, adjust the radar and whatnot. That door, Kate, I pushed that door open. I thought I had it propped. Boom! Right back on me.
I tell you what, is that wind supposed to stay with us all day today?
All the way till this evening.
And what direction is it going to mainly focus on?
Well, here's the scary thing. Southwest now, and it doesn't slow down because that compass is going to twist, work up from the northwest. And when it gets up to the northwest, that's why those temperatures are going to drop, but it's still going to be windy. That's why it's going to drop so fast.
It's going to be blowing northwest or coming from the northwest?
From the northwest down to the southeast.
If I angle it just right. Trying to think about the people who are hitting the road, which direction they need to be traveling. A lot of people will be traveling today.
And honestly, if you're leaving early this morning, you're going to get blistered if you're going south. Later today, you're going to get blistered if you're going north.
Hopefully east and west won't be quite as bad.
No, that's the problem. Because then you get
side wind.
Then you get side winds, especially high-profile vehicles.
Regardless, it's not going to be good for gas mileage today. That's
No, that's a very good point. We're all going to be burning gas somehow, some way, no matter which way you're going.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, Parsons, Kansas family is speaking out in hopes of finding the driver responsible for the serious injury of 18-year-old Andrew Scott. Andrew was hit by an unknown vehicle at 2:30 a.m. on Saturday while walking home from a party and left for dead. KOAM's Kate Kelly shares his story of survival as he begins the long road to recovery.
Andrew Scott is a young man his family describes as vibrant and full of life, caring and generous. They just celebrated an early Christmas together when they got the call that he'd been hit by a vehicle after walking away from a party. His family rushed to be with him.
All he could do was cry out about how he felt like he wasn't going to make it, and that he was so glad that we were there. And that was the hardest thing, is to watch your children laying there in a way that, you can't do anything to help them.
I'm standing in the area where the hit and run took place. Somewhere along this stretch of 35th Street and Southern Avenue, Andrew was struck from behind. He managed to drag himself into the ditch where he waited for hours calling for help before it came.
He was laying there trying to call for help, but he was not able to do it with any kind of force or any volume. He had punctured his lung, he had broken several ribs, he was just massively beaten and bruised and bleeding. And so he laid in somebody's yard for about 2 hours before someone got up in the morning and was taking their dogs out and heard him and called the police, and they responded to it.
Andrew was life-flighted to Freeman Hospital in Joplin. With COVID restrictions, only his mother could be with him, but she phoned, and Andrew's older brother says hearing his voice was both a relief and heart-wrenching.
He was just completely heartbroken. Like, he was just in tears. He was like, "I miss you. Please, like, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm so scared." And I was like, "I know, bub. Like, I know you're scared. Like, it's, and it's really hard to hear your baby brother, as tough as he is, sound like that."
Police are still looking for the driver responsible for Andrew's injury. In a statement, Parsons Police Chief Robert Spinks said in part, "This kind of incident is tragic and upsetting for multiple reasons. First, that someone can hit a pedestrian and continue on without stopping. Secondly, we have heard that there are persons with knowledge of the possible suspect in this case, but are withholding this information in hopes of gaining financially from Mr. Scott's injuries and terrible circumstances." Andrew's family is asking for answers, knowing that having justice will be part of his healing process.
We'll come together as a community and we'll get through it. But I want to see that he knows that not only is the community there, but the people that were involved in this also, aren't going to just be able to walk away from it without any consequences.
In Parsons, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Now, if you have any information regarding this case, please call the Parsons Police Department. For those who'd like to help Andrew's family with medical expenses and other costs, we've included a link to their GoFundMe page in this article on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A crash on Murphy Boulevard in Joplin, just north of the Broadway Viaduct, kills a Carthage man. Police say 28-year-old Alvaros Rivas drove his car off the road and landed upside down in a creek. Rivas died at the scene. The initial investigation indicates the car hit multiple light poles before overturning and going into the creek. Freeman Health System begins vaccinating healthcare workers on the front lines of the pandemic. The health system received 300 doses of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine and started distribution yesterday afternoon. The health system is giving the vaccine to doctors, nurses, and other employees who have the most contact with patients and who are at the most risk. Receiving the vaccine is not mandatory, but in the first 30 minutes of distribution, they had already vaccinated 45 employees. Well, the pandemic is affecting everyone, but what we may not consider is how it's affecting our pets. The Joplin Humane Society has seen a handful of pets get surrendered to them due to hardships caused by the pandemic, like sickness and financial stress, where families could no longer take care of their pets. The Humane Society is working to help those and all animals get adopted into a forever home, but they do have resources and advice for anyone in similar situations. Folks in Lamar were in the giving mood yesterday, supporting a fundraiser by Show Me Wagyu Charities. Fundraiser benefited more than a dozen area charities, health departments, schools, and organizations. In total, the event raised $315,000.
I've been very blessed, and I just want to pay the community back for the support I've had over the years. And I feel like the best thing I can do right now is provide a little Christmas cheer. There's a lot of depression going on right now.
Show Me Wagyu Charities also matched up to $5,000 of donations to each organization. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We learn about training resources available for local caretakers from the K-State Wildcat Extension. Plus, Israel's coalition government collapses. We'll have the latest, but it's 5:37.
It is gusty as all get out on this Wednesday morning. Is coming in from the southwest, close to 30 miles per hour. Anticipating a little rain to kick in here during the mid-morning hours after it pushes off. Cold front And I tell you what, it is going to be a cold afternoon. We'll see temperatures in the mid-40s by the time we get to 3, 4 o'clock. More KOAM Morning News and World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, tensions are building at British borders as thousands of trucks remain stranded following travel bans from most European countries. Greg Palcott has more from London.
We want to go back. We want to go home.
Plenty of anger and frustration as thousands of truck drivers remain stranded at British borders. More than 24 countries have put travel bans or restrictions in place following a new COVID-19 strain that emerged in southern England. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says food and medicine shipments are not being impacted. And while he says he understands the anxiety over the new strain, closed borders are not the answer.
We believe the risks of transmission by a solitary driver sitting alone in the cab are really very low.
There's been a major spike in cases in and around London since the strain was discovered, but early reports that it could be up to 70% more contagious are being disputed by some health officials on both sides of the Atlantic, who point out this isn't the first time the virus has mutated.
We've seen literally thousands of mutations of the coronavirus. It's what these viruses do. It does not appear that this strain is any more severe.
Another big concern, will the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine just approved in the US, UK, and EU be effective against the new variant? The company says more study is needed, but it should work because the proteins are a 99% match to the previous strain.
Scientifically, it is highly likely that the immune response by this vaccine also can deal with the new virus variants.
Public health officials in the U.S. say they believe the new strain has already traveled overseas, making a travel ban from the U.K. unlikely. Well, just 7 months after it was formed, Israel's unity government has collapsed, sending the country to its 4th general election in less than 2 years. Speaking ahead with midnight deadline to agree to a budget, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he did not want a fresh election, but declared, "I guarantee we will win big time." The most likely date for the nationwide vote is March 23rd. Tokyo 2020 Olympic Organizing Committee reported yesterday its budget for the upcoming games total $15.4 billion. It includes cost of postponement and additional COVID-19 countermeasures. It's an increase from the prior $12.6 billion forecast. Tokyo 2020 CEO explained the additional costs are a positive investment, said the Games would be a role model for big international events during the pandemic. All 68 Olympic sponsors have agreed in principle to extend their agreements through 2021. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for something to talk about.
Thank you, Tanya. The season of giving on the KOAM News Now Facebook page, asking you your favorite gift. Maybe you got a picture of it. Also, too, KOAM News Now Instapoll. How many people are you buying Christmas gifts for? Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. News you need to know for you head out the door right after this. It's pretty amazing right here on the KOAM News Now Instapoll page, and you can vote. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Buying gifts for more than 9 people. 64% of our audience doing that right now. Like I said, 64%. Like, go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Dylan, switch me over to that, man. We'll pick up right there with our Christmas question. Merry Christmas and to KOAM and Mama. Merry Christmas, Rochelle. She says, easy, the gift of life. God bless everyone, safe and enjoy the holiday. And with that being said, I want to run up here to Courtney Berger Imhoff. Courtney, a friend of the show. Courtney says her best Christmas gift is her son. After 5 miscarriages, I had my first child. He missed Christmas Day by an hour, but that was the best Christmas ever. Some call it a gift. I call him a blessing. Courtney, that's amazing, and thank you for that. Donna Thompson says, I have one Christmas that stands out. As a little girl, my parents bought me a horse. Totally unexpected. That gift lasted many years into early adulthood. And our own Will York says he came into the office this morning and found this near my desk. I have the best coworkers ever. A little play with the Jurassic Park crew with All My Friends Are Dead t-shirt. Now, with that being said, I am being told this is organic television, folks. I have no idea what's in this. I was handed this just a little bit ago, and I was told to open this on air. This is from the morning show crew. And we'll see what we have here as far as Christmas gifts go. This is why I work with the best people ever. You guys in the control room are unbelievable, man. Y'all are unbelievable. Hey, Conley, that goes for you behind the camera, too. You guys are the best. I may have been having a conversation about the whole Get Off My Lawn crew just last night with somebody. I love you guys to death, man. All right, Wildcat Wednesday, go.
Well, this morning it is a Wildcat Wednesday, and I'm fortunate enough to be joined by Tara Solomon-Smith with Wildcat Extension. Tara, how are you this morning?
Good morning. Doing well, thank you.
Okay, so I want to ask you about your upcoming program because I know that you've got some cool stuff in the works, right? And it gets started. Is it this week?
Yeah, January 14th is when it rolls out.
Okay, so we've got some time, a little bit.
Still some time to register for this virtual 6-week Powerful Tools for Caregiving course. It's definitely a fact that caregivers have higher stress levels than non-caregivers.
Right.
And so this course can help you, to gain some tools to help you through your caregiving role.
So what kind of an experience have caregivers had, particularly in the last 8-9 months? I mean, it's been really difficult to be able to give the proper kind of care that I have to imagine a lot of people want to be able to give.
It definitely has been. And you're a caregiver, even if your loved one is in living somewhere else across the country or living in assisted living, you're still a caregiver and you're still working with their medical needs, emotional needs, physical needs. And it's been extra challenging, of course, with some to keep them safe. Sometimes visitors are not allowed, not being able to get out, to take care of yourself as well. Say you're caring for someone in your home, not being able to go and take a break from that caregiving role. So it's been extra challenging.
So what kind of tools are you hoping people walk away with? Because I know there's so many different components to providing proper care. So, I mean, are there sort of, core pillars of the program, or are there sort of staple areas? How do you divide things up?
Sure. So it definitely provides tools to help you reduce stress, help you to improve your self-confidence, communicate your feelings better, and balance life better. So it's really taking care of yourself. Also, finding some local resources. We help delve into that a little bit, and helping you to increase your ability to make those tough decisions that do come along in the caregiving process. Our registration fee is reduced thanks to the community, Southeast Kansas Community Foundation. And with that registration of $5, you get a caregiver help book with lots of tools and resources. And we will send out lots of handouts and resources as well.
Well, we'll make sure that we have all the information about how to sign up and how to learn more on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Tara, thanks for joining us this morning. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, we'll be right back in the KOAM Morning News after this.
Maybe a warm start on this Wednesday, but the cold fronts are coming along with some light rain as we continually drop our temperatures down into the 40s by this evening and down to the 20s by tonight. All the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
The family of a Parsons, Kansas hit-and-run victim speaks out. Plus, a local hospital begins administering the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. And a look at how the pandemic is hard on our furry friends.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, the big man in red makes his return for Notes to the North Pole. We'll hear from Santa himself as he reads more Christmas lists sent in by 4-state kids. And just in time for Christmas, we're talking about the best gift you ever received. We want to know your favorite for this morning's Something to Talk About. You can also participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Of course, Michael and I have been sharing ours all morning long. I was telling you about one that I remembered from 1988. It was a Hot Looks doll sold by Mattel. It was made in Canada, only sold in 87 and 88.
Well, that's the song that you were playing, right?
Yeah, I was reminiscing and going back to an old commercial for it. my doll was named Elkie, and she was a Swedish model. And the theme of these dolls is they just knew how to, they were very fashionable, and there was a different doll from each country. And like they represented their country and their styles and their fashion, and they were just, mine was Elkie, E-L-K-I-E. If anyone remembers these Hot Looks dolls, they had fabric body. They were real tall, about this tall. They had very flexible bodies because they were fabric, not like plastic like a Barbie doll, you know. But I lost mine. Mine burned in our house fire, and my sister she found one on eBay to replace it, not the same one. I think she got like a French model to replace my Swedish model. But a lot of memories. I mean, I played with this doll a lot, seriously.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you can chime in if you know what Tanya's talking about there on the KOM News Now Facebook page.
They're Hot Looks dolls.
Great memory right there. What did you say, 87, 88?
87 or 88. Those are the only years they were made.
I'll be darned. All right, Skywatch Storm Tracker, Tanya. It is warm. It is windy. That is the key factor right there. That wind about to blow you over. Shut your doors. If you're trying to open up a door from north to south right there, get ready for it to come right back on your face. I can personally attest to it, as our wind advisory lasts all the way until 6 o'clock tonight. Now the key factor is we're beginning to see it shift. Look at that top left-hand portion of your screen. So that's an indicator of the cold front that's on its way as well. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. Like I said, it is warm, 59 degrees. It's hard to beat that. But I tell you what's going to happen is once we get to the afternoon hours, it's just a steady, steady drop. Big cold front coming through. Going to take us from, say 59 right now, down to about 25 overnight. And so prepare for a chilly Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Here's a nice thing though. Any rain that we do squeeze out today, it's going to be minimal, going to be quick hitter, going to be done by noon. Not going to impact travel because we won't get below freezing. We're so warm from the other 2 days. And then we get sunshine, even though cold temps, on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
If we could get rid of this wind, it would be great.
I'm sorry, what's up? My bad. Just be prepped. Be prepped for about the next two days for it to make an appearance.
When you want me just to stop talking, are you going to hold that up? Is
What's
that what
up?
it is? All right, okay, let's move on. Well, Parsons, Kansas family is seeking justice after a hit and run over the weekend. 18-year-old Andrew Scott was struck by an unknown vehicle on Southern Avenue near 35th Street around 2:30 a.m. on Saturday. He managed to crawl into the ditch where he called for help for hours before he was discovered. He's now recovering at Freeman Hospital, but it will be a while before Andrew can walk again. His family is asking for financial help to cover medical expenses and praying the driver responsible steps forward.
This is a young man that was left laying to die, and he really did think that he was going to die. It is not something that anyone should ever have to face, especially not alone.
Police believe there could be people with knowledge of a suspect in this case. If you have any information regarding the case, please call the Parsons Police Department. For those who'd like to help Andrew's family, we've included a link to their GoFundMe page in this article on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Freeman Health System in Joplin is putting the Moderna vaccine to use. The health system started vaccinating healthcare workers at the hospital yesterday afternoon. 45 workers were vaccinated in the first half hour of distribution. The hospital is focusing on healthcare workers who are at the highest risk of being exposed to the disease. One doctor who received the shot says he was excited to get it and that it's a huge deal for the hospital and anyone who may need to see a doctor.
This is the first time we've had such an illness that the patient can come to the hospital needing our help and we can get infected and have to step away from our jobs of helping others. Once we get the healthcare systems vaccinated to where we are protected, it just further helps us to take care of the patients.
Freeman says the state has guaranteed the second 300 doses for boosters will be at the hospital by the time they are needed. Health officials in Missouri say more than 23,000 vaccines have been administered to frontline healthcare workers and nursing home residents and staff. No word on how many have been vaccinated in Kansas. Pandemic is affecting everyone, but what we may not consider is how it's affecting pets. The Joplin Humane Society has seen a handful of pets get surrendered to them due to hardships caused by the pandemic, like sickness and financial stress, where families could no longer take care of their pets. The Humane Society is working to help those and all animals get adopted into a forever home. They do have resources and advice for anyone in similar situations.
Encourage anybody who's having to contemplate rehoming their animal to give us a call. We can definitely give them some options and go over some different scenarios of things that they can do in order to make that the best decision, not only for the pet, but for the family as well.
ASPCA reported data in August that within 6 months, more than 4.2 million pets would likely end up in poverty due to the pandemic. Well, Santa Claus is coming to town and he's getting a little help from his friends at the United States Postal Service, UPS, and FedEx, just to name a few. KOAM's Chris Warner explains how they're working to ensure your holiday packages arrive on time despite the high demand.
Santa isn't the only one making a list and checking it twice. Those doing your holiday shipping, like the United States Postal Service, are doing the same thing, making sure what you order gets to you on time.
We hired a bunch of extra people early. We always bring on extra seasonal employees. We brought on extra transportation. We've got folks working 24/7, 7 days a week.
Officials with FedEx say they're doing the same thing in an email sent to KOAM, saying their workers across the globe are working, quote, tirelessly and safely to meet demands this holiday season. UPS also sent us an email saying they've hired around 100,000 seasonal employees and an additional 39,000 permanent employees to help during what the Postal Service says is an historic time.
A lot of folks are working from home. We're teaching the kids from home, things like that. So a lot of online shipping. A lot of folks won't be traveling this year, so they'll be mailing those very same packages that they ordered for themselves to their loved ones as well.
For the Postal Service, it goes beyond just the daily mail deliveries.
It's all, service mail for us. It's not just packages or just letters or things like that. We're taking care of communication for the people across the country and around the world.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
While many holiday shipping deadlines have passed, there are still a few options left to get Christmas deliveries to their destinations. And we put a link with delivery deadlines on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Carthage native receives a special dedication after health complications make doing what he loves impossible. Bob Meeks was the band director in Carthage for decades and has been a part of the Patriot Guard Riders since 2006. Over the last month, Meeks has had a series of strokes that make riding impossible. So his friends in the Patriot Guard came to visit him and wish him well after making an entrance on a dozen motorcycles.
He hasn't smiled or laughed as much since all this happened. He was in the hospital for two or 3 weeks and then in rehab. It was wonderful of him to do that.
I haven't seen him smile that much in a long time. It's just made his day, and if I can be a part of that, then I'm honored to do that.
Bob and Sylvia will be celebrating their 62nd wedding anniversary next Monday. So they say it was like an early anniversary present. And we wish them the best. 6:07.
We got temperatures that are going to continually drop today, down into the 40s with a southwest wind that is number 1 coming in at 25 miles per hour right now. That is number 2 going to shift from the northwest and continue to roll in at 24 miles per hour. So just get ready for the cold front. Don't worry about the light rain. It won't amount to anything.
And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we'll be joined by jolly old St. Nick as he reads more lists sent in by 4 state children. Plus, how health officials are trying to build trust of the coronavirus vaccine in communities of color, and how the proposed relief package could help entertainment venues. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, the Justice Department is accusing Walmart of helping to fuel the opioid crisis. Prosecutors allege the company unlawfully filled thousands of prescriptions by pressuring employees to fill orders quickly, even ones that were suspicious. Walmart, which filed its own preemptive suit against the Trump administration 2 months ago, says the government is trying to shift blame for its own failures. Congress's COVID-19 stimulus bill has earmarked $15 billion for entertainment venues, movie theaters, and museums that are struggling because of the pandemic. And while some of those establishments are now open, their revenues are still way down from where they were last year. As Bianca Beltran reports, that's what's happened to an independent theater in Missouri.
What can I grab for you?
At Screenland Armor, there are endless movie options. The independent theater in North Kansas City allows private parties to screen any movie they want.
Do you need a straw with this or anything?
So it's really been exciting to see families, especially like families with little kids who normally wouldn't go to the movies, go be able to see these movies, these larger than life experiences on the big screen. And they know it helps us out too.
Anything else for you?
Owner Adam Roberts says revenue has been below 50% since they reopened this summer. Financial relief for struggling entertainment venues could be on the horizon in the next round of stimulus funding.
We're lucky that we've been able to be open since June, but a lot of our markets, movie theaters and concerts are just not happening. So for this to be something that's available for us, it really means entertainment's going to be able to hopefully sustain into next year when things, fingers crossed, get back to normal.
Adam says the film industry was already evolving. The pandemic accelerated that change, with production companies releasing movies to stream online. Whether it's classic or blockbuster, he says there's something special about going to the movies.
The ups and downs of being in a movie theater aren't like anything else. You laugh, you cry, you jump out of your seat together, and you can't replicate that.
You got everything?
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's it for Money Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Only a few more days until Christmas Day, and everybody's got their list in to Santa Claus, and we always wonder, well, has Santa actually heard from us yet? You want that confirmation, but he's a busy guy. But fortunately, we are joined by him this morning from the North Pole. Santa, how's it going, man?
It's going great, Jesse. How's everything down in the Four States area?
Oh, you know what? Can't complain here in the Four States area. Frankly, we can't wait for Christmas. And I know it's your busiest work day of the year, so I don't want to take too much of your time here, but I have a couple questions from some kids in the Four States that I thought you might be able to answer if you have a second.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, well, let's see. I've got one here from Gunner, and Gunner wants to know, how many elves do you have, Santa?
Well, that's a good question, Gunner. And this time of year, I don't have near enough, but right now I think we're somewhere around 45 or 4,600 elves that work up here.
Very cool, very cool. All right, well, Isaac has a question here. Isaac wants to know, he wants to know if he can drive the sleigh. Now, I don't know Isaac's age, but what are your thoughts on this?
Boy, Isaac, that's a tough one, but it's probably something I wouldn't be able to let you do. The deer are a little finicky at times, and you got to have a lot of training to be able to do it. And I apologize for that, but boy, just for safety, I don't think I could let you drive it.
Well, you know what? We appreciate you even considering it, and I know that Isaac will understand. We've got one other one here. We've got a question from Taryn, last one here. Taryn wants to know, did the elves that people might have in their home, right? Whether it be elf on a shelf, whether it be elf in the yard, wherever the elf may be, does the elf report whether someone's been naughty or nice? How does that work?
Well, Taryn, yes, they do. That's what they every night when you go to bed, they come back and let me know whether you're doing what you're supposed to do or not. They just tell on you.
All right. Well, hey, I know that you've got to go here in a second. I just want to see. I mentioned a couple of names here. Do you by any chance have lists from any of the names that we mentioned?
I sure do. I sure do. They all sent some lists up here this year.
Wow. All right. What about, did you have Gunner?
Yes, I do. I do. Gunner's from Chanute, and Gunner's Lulu, a puppy at his uncle's house, and he's also wanting a video camera.
All right, we've got Ian. Ian lives in St. Paul. Ian mentioned a couple of things. Do you have Ian's list in front of you?
Yes, I do, and he's got several things here. Ian, he wants a farm simulator for his PlayStation, Optimus Prime with a trailer, Bumblebee Jeep, and his favorite color is blue.
Well, you mentioned Isaac, Ian's brother. Do you have Isaac's list in front of you by any chance?
Yes, I do. I do have Isaac's list here. He's also wanting some a Transformer Jazz, a Transformer Hot Shot, and he also likes Bumblebee and Transformer in the car.
Transformers must be a pretty popular toy this year.
Well, they are every year. That's one that we get requests for every year. It just seems that they never lose their popularity.
Wow. I've got a friend named Taryn in Fort Scott. Do you have Taryn's list?
I sure do, Jesse. This one just came in, so Taryn is wanting Farmer Barbie, a Barbie house, LOL surprise, and she loves the color pink.
Awesome. Well, Santa, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Would you mind? I know we've been able to talk to you, pretty much every day leading up to Christmas. With tomorrow being Christmas Eve, any chance we could talk to you tomorrow morning one last time?
You sure can. I'm always glad to talk with you guys from down there.
Hey, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Santa. Send our love to everyone, and we will be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more Americans plan to get the COVID-19 vaccine based on 2 recent surveys, but vaccine distrust is still out there. Health experts worry communities of color hit hardest by the virus may choose not to get protected from it. Mandy Gaither has more.
Americans are expressing less reluctance about getting the COVID-19 vaccine based on 2 recent surveys.
ABC poll this week, more than 8 in 10 Americans say they plan to take the vaccine. And Kaiser today announced 70%. So just vaccine confidence is surging.
But the numbers are lower within the Black community. Blacks and Hispanics are more likely to get infected, more likely to be hospitalized, and more likely to die from COVID-19 than whites. A new survey from the Kaiser Family Foundation found 35% of Black adults said they probably or definitely would not get vaccinated.
The Black community, communities of color, we cannot sit on the sideline whereby other communities don't, and they receive the added protection of the vaccine. That's only going to worsen our outcomes.
47% of Black adults who say they won't get vaccinated cite distrust in vaccines in general, while 50% are worried they will contract COVID-19 from the vaccine. Among those speaking out to counter misinformation and distrust in the community, Dr. Leon McDougall, president of the National Medical Association.
I highly recommend that we, when our turn comes up for the vaccine, that we receive the vaccine.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Black health experts are also reaching out to coalitions, clergy, and churches, hoping to spread word about vaccine safety. More plans are released for a new education center that will be built at the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas in Pittsburgh. Freeman Health System donated $1 million towards the new John Parola Education Center. The $5 million project will be a 16,000 square foot facility that'll train medical and dental residents. The hope is to keep more doctors in rural areas.
We know that if we train those physicians and those mid-levels and those dental hygienists, that they're likely to stay in this area.
According to the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas, studies show only 2% of new doctors want to practice in a town with less than 25,000 people. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Cold front rolling in as we will have temperatures drop down to the 40s by this evening. We'll be right back after this.
family of a Parsons, Kansas hit-and-run victim speaks out. Plus, a local hospital begins administering the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. And a look at how the pandemic is hard on our furry friends.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, we're going to look at the latest round of pardons issued by the president. And something to talk about, asking what best Christmas gift you ever received. You can also vote in our Insta poll. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote.
2008, sitting around opening up stockings, a Major League Baseball trivia book. And the kids, the wife and I, we sat around for, I don't know, 2 hours, just reading pages out of the book.
Aww.
It was like it was Christmas on hold, and we just read the book.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, it's something I still think back every time I look at that book. I'm like, man, I remember that morning like it was yesterday. Skywatch storm tracker cloud cover has moved in, and we've got a wind advisory for all of the 4 states all the way into the evening hours as it continues to come in from the south, giving us those warm temperatures. And those are not gusts, those are actual sustained winds, 23 miles per hour right now in Joplin and 26 in Nevada. Top left-hand portion of your screen, there's the shift in the winds. So it's about to get a little bit chillier as we see the jet stream trying to force its way down from the northwest straight through us. We kind of got spoiled here past couple of days. Our temperatures still remain in the mid-50s, even up in the northwest. Yates Center still sitting at 57, which is comparable to Monette at 55 and Neosho at 58 down in the southeast. So we haven't seen the big shift as of yet, but we will. With a little light rain coming later this morning, we're going to drop down to the 40s by the afternoon and then down below the 30s into the 20s for tonight.
Just thinking back. Christmas 2011. Nope. Christmas 2011. The gift didn't go to me. It went to my dad.
This is from actually the morning crew to the weather dude, and special thanks to our own Will York for knowing how curmudgeon-y I can be.
I love it. I love
Absolutely love it.
Can I tell you my Christmas 2011
Yes,
story?
go.
Oh, I guess it'd be Christmas 2012. I had that wrong. Christmas 2012. Whole family sitting around in my sister's living room for Christmas. My dad opens up a present, doesn't show anybody what it is, and he goes, "I think this is for you, Tanya," and hands it to me. And it was an engagement ring from my husband. But we live so far from my parents. That was his way of asking permission before he did it.
That is great. That's a tremendous story right there.
Yep, that was fun.
Good luck for all of you that plan on proposing on Christmas Day to beat that story right there. I feel bad for you boys and girls.
All right, that was many moons ago. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a young Parsons, Kansas man was hit by an unknown vehicle and left for dead on Saturday, and now his family is searching for answers as he begins the long road to recovery. 18-year-old Andrew Scott was the victim of a hit and run here on Southern Avenue near 35th Street around 2:30 in the morning. He managed to crawl into the ditch where he called for help for hours before he was discovered. He's currently being treated at Freeman Hospital, but it'll be a while before Andrew can walk again. His family's asking for financial help to cover medical expenses and praying the driver responsible steps forward.
How could someone do that? Just hit somebody, whether you knew or not, and then you just leave them on the side of the road. Like that probably is the scariest thing that anyone could ever experience, is one, being completely injured, and two, being alone and thinking that you're not going to come out.
Police believe there could be people with knowledge of a suspect in this case. If you have any information regarding the case, please call the Parsons Police Department. For those who'd like to help Andrew's family with medical expenses and other costs, we've included a link to their GoFundMe page in this article on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Freeman Health System begins vaccinating healthcare workers on the front lines of the pandemic. The health system received 300 doses of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine and started distribution yesterday afternoon. The health system is giving the vaccine to doctors, nurses, and other employees who have the most contact with patients and who are at the most risk. Receiving the vaccine is not mandatory, but in the first 30 minutes of distribution, they had already vaccinated 45 employees.
For them to be vaccinated today is a very, very special day for us. We want to protect our healthcare providers so that they are well and able to take care of all the people who need them so desperately.
The Moderna vaccine, just like the Pfizer vaccine, requires a booster for full inoculation around 28 days after the first dose. The health system says the state has guaranteed they will receive those doses before boosters are due. Jasper County Health Department is reporting its 98th COVID-19 related death. They say the patient was a woman in her 90s. The Joplin Health Department is reporting 3 more COVID-19 deaths. They were 2 men, ages 94 and 88, and a 98-year-old woman. These deaths bring the city's total to 89. The pandemic has affected many, but some may not realize that it also has had an effect on the lives of animals. KOAM's Caitlin Shives spoke with the Joplin Humane Society to find out more.
The ASPCA released data in August that showed that more than 4.2 million pets in the U.S. were likely to end up in poverty in 6 months' time due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been 4 months since that data was released, and the Joplin Humane Society has seen some of those predictions come true.
Some of the things that we may not think about with the pandemic is the way that it's affecting the animals in our lives. There are cases where families have become very ill and not been able to care for their animals, or they're having a hard time due to loss of jobs and things like that from the COVID pandemic, making it so they have to come up with another option for their pets.
While fortunately they have not encountered a ton of animals being given up to them, a handful of pets have been surrendered to their care.
We've had a couple come in that have definitely come from some situations that are heartbreaking, but we're here to help. We're here to help these animals get into new homes.
One of the surrenders is Aiden, a shepherd mix whose family was financially strained from the pandemic and could not take care of him any longer.
Aiden is a great dog. Aiden got brought in due to a financial situation, and he was a little shy, definitely a little nervous about being here, and we've had some absolutely amazing volunteers working with Aiden to bring him out of his shell and to really let him shine.
And the Humane Society is doing what they can to provide resources for families who may be in similar situations.
I encourage anybody who's having to contemplate rehoming their animal to give us a call. We can definitely give them some options and go over some different scenarios of things that they can do in order to make that the best decision, not only for the pet, but for the family as well.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
The Humane Society also has a food pantry and low-cost spay and neuter resources, so people are less likely to surrender pets due to financial reasons. Well, some special boxes are going to several homes this Christmas. The Salvation Army is sending them out to area families in need. They're filled with all the trimmings for Christmas dinner and toys for the kids.
Oh, I hope the public knows that we have families in our community that need the help, that they're aware of it, that there are people out there. We all need to work together to provide for them.
Officials with the Salvation Army say 600 children and 175 seniors will be getting a box. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Relief bill uncertainty.
President Trump threatens to torpedo the coronavirus relief bill over those $600 stimulus checks. I'm Deborah Alfarone on Capitol Hill with reaction and what comes next.
Plus, what's the best Christmas gift you've ever received? We let you weigh in our Something to Talk About, but first it's 6:37.
Our temperatures continue to drop this morning as eventually we'll get a little light rain and find ourselves in the 40s during the afternoon hours. Prepare for a whole bunch of sunshine, but a whole bunch of cool temps for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Trump is threatening the $900 billion coronavirus relief package that was passed by Congress earlier this week. In a 4-minute Twitter video, the president complained the stimulus checks are not large enough. Deborah Alfarone is in Washington with details and the response from Democrats.
It really is a disgrace.
In a video posted to Twitter, President Trump criticized the stimulus checks in the coronavirus relief package.
I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000.
After largely staying out of the negotiations, the president is now suggesting he may not sign the bill, which passed with a veto-proof majority earlier this week.
And not enough money is given to small businesses, and in particular restaurants.
Democrats and some Republicans tried to include larger checks,
I think it should be $1,200.
but were blocked by Republican Senator Ron Johnson.
We do not have an unlimited checking account.
House Democrats say they will introduce an amendment Thursday to increase those payments to $2,000, but it's unclear if it can pass the Republican-controlled Senate.
Our darkest days in the battle against COVID are ahead of us.
President-elect Joe Biden has said the original deal is just the first step in fighting the pandemic.
But like all compromises, it's far from perfect. But it does provide vital relief at a critical moment.
Many Americans say they need help now.
How are you?
Like the hundreds in South Florida who lined up to get grocery gift cards.
I need to buy me some food. I don't have anything to buy some food right now. I've run out all my food stamps.
Stimulus checks could start going out next week if President Trump signs the bill. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
In the 4-minute Twitter video, President Trump also spoke out about a number of other expenditures, like money for foreign countries and things like the Smithsonian. While it was a part of the same vote, those were part of the $1.4 trillion funding bill that keeps the government open. President Trump issued another round of pardons yesterday. The recipients included 2 former GOP congressmen, California's Duncan Hunter and New York's Chris Collins. The president also pardoned George Papadopoulos, a 2016 campaign advisor who admitted lying to FBI agents investigating Russian election interference. That's a look at today's top national stories. We'll be right back. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, communication technician second class George Caston, a member of the United States Navy from 1952 to 1955. He served during the Korean War. His hometown, Columbus, Kansas. We are proud to salute George Caston, our four-state hero.
All right, we're going to kick this birthday list off by running out to Oronogo, where the best sister ever is celebrating her second birthday. Scarlett Lassiter. Scarlett, I want you to have a marvelous birthday and a very Merry Christmas, kiddo.
And we've got Thomas Ray Porter turning 5 years old this year, playing with the bubbles there. Happy birthday, Thomas.
There's a lot of bubbles right there. That's not too bad. Elsie Anderson. That's a pretty cool pic right there, Elsie. She's celebrating her 6th birthday. I'm very happy to Elsie in Fort Scott.
Christian Bledsoe celebrating birthday number 10 this year in Frontenac.
What's up, Christian? Happy birthday, my man. Addison Morris, she is also now double digits. Congrats to Addison and a happy birthday in Cherokee.
Heading out to Chanute to celebrate birthday number 11 with Cadence Whitworth. Hope it's a great one.
At number 11, you know what? A popular number. I'm going to stick with it. Because we got a little Labette County Grizzly cheer right there. As Hunter Myers, she celebrates her 11th. Hunter, in that basketball and cheerleading mecca we like to call Mound Valley.
Javen Woolsey celebrating birthday number 15 this year. That's right, give us some more cowbell.
Oh my gosh.
Javen in Altamont.
Javen, I want to know where you got that shirt, dude. I want to know where you got that shirt. That is classic right there. Now get this. Look who's 40. That's right. Hold on. Let's take a second. Let's soak it in. Hopefully he's on vacation and he's not even watching. Hopefully somebody just sent this in. But this is great. And not only that, with the Hatch, the Austin Hatch shirt, that's too cool, man. And I've known this dude a long, long time. Hey, welcome to the 40-year-old club, my man. And he's done so much for the Hayslip kiddos as well. So a very happy 40th birthday to Ryan Barcelona. And Ryan, I love the fact that that I know that event that you were at right there. I know that meant so much to the kids as well. So thank you for that. And a very happy birthday to you, Mr. Ryan. And a very Merry Christmas to you.
Here's a big one for Miss Lori Klein's turning 60 years old this year. A little throwback pic there in Edna, Kansas.
That's a great picture right there. Isn't that's awesome. I love that. All right, Hillary Blackburn. She is celebrating a birthday in Pittsburgh, and I want to tell you, Miss Hillary, a very happy birthday from your mother-in-law. So Hillary, have a great, great birthday and a wonderful Christmas. Tom and Yvonne Gettle. This is why this was familiar, because when I saw their name pop up on the list, I was like, wait a second. Didn't we just have them recently? That's because Yvonne had a birthday last week. Mm-hmm. And so Tom knew what he was doing there. He's like, I keep everything together. I keep my holidays in a row there. He's like, I got a Bond's birthday.
If I forget one, I can make up for it the next week.
Right? No. And then he's got Christmas on top of that.
That's just the.
So it's like he can
Christmas.
Right. And so he's like, okay, if I can do the birthday and then the anniversary and the Christmas, I got Tom. Kudos to you, my man. Hey, you know what? After 48 years, Tom and Yvonne, they're doing something right. Yep. So congratulations to the Gettles. All right, it's been a while since I called anybody out, hasn't it? Okay, Miss Sandy, we will find a picture. We will find a picture at some point in time. I promise you that. But a happy birthday to Sandy Emerson in the NAC. Rosie Borkart, she's celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday to Miss Rosie in Pittsburgh. And Marissa Seward with a birthday as well. Happy birthday to Marissa in the Bird. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of our KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Asking about favorite Christmas gifts. This is a great one from Jerry Othel Jones Jr. That's Aaliyah Jones right there. And she was born December 20th, 2006. He said, this is great. He goes, mine came early. That's great, Jerry. Thanks for making a dad tear up, too. Well played by you. Beatrix Pepples Rackos, a cassette tape made many years ago on Christmas Eve. Grandma, aunts, and mother talking and singing Christmas songs. Every year I put it on the tape player and we sing along with it. That's tremendous. And this is a good one. Back-to-back ones I want to dismount with Guy. Younger brother's gift, plastic red smarkle snare drum. New Year's Day came, time to take tree down. Still sat that snare drum under the tree, it was untouched. Asked Mark, that'd be Guy's brother, what he was going to do with it. He said, I don't know, you want it? That was around 1960, get this. Still playing it to today. God bless you, Mark. Drums turned out to be one of the greatest joys of my life.
Here's a check of today's top headlines.
Yeah, I was about to say, pull me off this, man. I'm getting a little choked up over here. Get me off of this.
The news you need to know before you head out the door. President Trump lashed out at the just passed $900 billion coronavirus relief bill. In a video posted to Twitter, the president called the legislation a disgrace filled with wasteful spending. President Trump also said the $600 stimulus checks should be increased to $2,000. The measure cleared both the House and the Senate by veto-proof margins. Freeman Health System received its first shipment of Moderna COVID-19 vaccines. The hospital received 300 doses of the Moderna vaccine and started putting it to use yesterday. They're prioritizing staff who come into close contact with patients in a clinical setting. Hospital gave shots from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. yesterday and had vaccinated 45 doctors, nurses, and other staff in the first half hour. Well, the future of rural health care in the 4 states could be coming from Southeast Kansas. Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas announced it's creating the John Paraloa Education Center. The center is meant to support the training of future physicians and healthcare professionals in rural Kansas. Parsons, Kansas family is seeking justice after a hit and run over the weekend. 18-year-old Andrew Scott was struck by an unknown vehicle on Southern Avenue near 35th Street around 2:30 a.m. Saturday. He managed to crawl into the ditch where he called for help for hours before he was discovered. He's now recovering at Freeman Hospital, but it will be a while before Andrew can walk again. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Windy and warm to begin our morning, but I tell you what, the cold front is approaching, and as it does, it's going to drop us down into the 40s by this afternoon. So we've topped out temperature-wise. Make sure, even though you walk outside, you go, oh, it's windy, it's not too bad. No, take that winter coat with you. You're going to need it for the ride home, as we're going to have a chilly yet sunny Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Well, coming up today at noon, we've got our latest Mr. Food recipe. But if you switch on over with us on Fox 14, that's where you'll find Jesse Irwin.
That dude.
Yeah, we are going to be talking to Santa, see what he's got going on up in the North Pole with a couple days left till Christmas. And of course, we're also going to be hanging out for Wildcat Wednesday. We'll have that and more over on Fox 14, my friends.
All right, man, we'll see you over there. Want everybody to have a great, safe Wednesday. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.